We are live. So I guess
hello everyone.
We are live now. People are joining us. So I need to you have your mic mute, so please chat on the right. Hi there. Hi Daniele. Can you hear me? Can you hear me correctly? The sound is good. Please chat on the right, on the left, or I don't know where is your chat. Please, Christopher. Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Perfetto. Yeah. Where are you guys? Please write your city, country. Where are you now, and what time is it now? Because I guess that is not afternoon for everyone. Germany. Oh, okay. UK. Turkey, England. Come on, come on. Sweden, USA, Australia. Okay. Okay.
Time to go bed in Australia.
Yeah, it's the midnight. Austria. Okay. Hi, Marcus. We are going around the world. New York, Cincinnati, Turkey, Sicily, New Zealand.
New Zealand. Oh.
Okay, 3 a.m. Oh, bright and early in Australia, New Zealand, James. So, okay, guys, we can start. So, let's get started. Welcome everybody. I'm Alessio from the NethServer community. So, thanks for being here. We are really happy to be here today with you, with the NethServer people and the entire NethServer 8 dev team. And as you already know, we spent a lot of time working on the new release, and now the time is come, so we can update you about the entire project. And so this afternoon, we are going, afternoon, night, I don't know which time is for you. So we are going to talk about what we have done so far, what we are working on, and how to create a new model for NethServer 8, the roadmap, next steps, a lot of things in this meeting. I can ask you to ask your question on the chat. We are a lot. We have maybe around 60 people now, so I think that you can raise your question on the chat. Maybe I will try to give you the microphone after for the question answer. We will try to. So don't wait more. And I'm so happy to introduce the first speaker from our dev team, Giacomo Sanchietti. Giacomo, are you there?
I'm there.
I'm
here.
So
I'm going to share the screen.
Share the screen.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We will have a brief introduction on NethServer 8. We think that NethServer 8 is ready for, call it Alpha 1, maybe. And this is the agenda of the meeting. We are going through our previous discussion on what NethServer 8 is, and what the target of the project, of course. Then we are going a little bit technical for the architecture, the installation, and a live demo of the UI, where Andrea will show us how to do simple task, at least what we have so far. And then we are going with Matteo to create a new model. We are going to do a full kickstart of a new model, so developers will see how to create a new model and what we have prepared for you. And finally, we will talk about the roadmap. So what are the future steps? So why we built NethServer 8? NethServer 8 has the same target of NethServer 7, and it's for sysadmin, inexperienced sysadmin, and sysadmin that wants the job done. So like NethServer 7, NethServer 8 will help the sysadmin to do the common task like installing application and managing them. One of the main problem of NethServer 7 and of all many other distribution is the lack of new software stack. When developers release a new software, they usually use very brand new software stack, and distributions can't always have updated modules. So this is the basic problem of Debian, CentOS, even NethServer 7. We are trying to solve this problem with NethServer 8, and this is the solution we think is are the container. So what are the requirements of NethServer 8? We have roughly the same requirement of NethServer 7, so we can run NethServer 8 on cheap VPS or small hardware server. Of course, it depends on the workload, as always when you deploy a new server. Another aim for NethServer 8 is the migration. So we want, of course, to have a migration path from NethServer 7 to NethServer 8. But we would like to have a simpler path of migration. So probably the admin will be able to migrate one module at a time from NethServer 7 to NethServer 8. As Davide will describe later, NethServer 8 is as a multi-node architecture, so we can achieve something like a centralized management portal. So we have a big paradigm shift. NethServer 7 is all-in-one distro, but NethServer 8 is much more. It can be an all-in-one distribution, but it can be also a distributed system. So as you can see on the slide here, you can think of NethServer 8 as a multiple server installation. So you can have, let's say, an Active Directory inside your office and a Nextcloud or a mail server connected to the Active Directory directly from a VPS or another office. So, and everything can be controlled by a centralized UI. So this is the brief introduction about what is NethServer 8, and I'm leaving the stage for Davide, who will talk about the architecture.
Hi, everyone.
Can you hear, guys?
So,
yes.
yeah, a bit of change.
Which?
So how is it built? There are many nodes grouped together like a cluster. And a NethServer 8 system is a cluster of nodes. They are administered at the same time from a single user interface. As we have seen, a cluster with a single node is still permitted. This is a distinction point compared with other complex platforms. Nodes can be added and removed during the cluster life as wanted. As nodes can be both physical and virtual, there can be many events and situations where node operations, like adding, removing, replaces, are needed. Nodes communicate with each other by virtual network. Among the cluster nodes, there is a leader node, which runs the administrative user interface. Other nodes are said to be just workers. They receive orders from the leader. For instance, install the Nextcloud application. Any node can run application, even the leader one. As nodes are built with the same components, it is possible to switch over to a new leader node at any time. Let's zoom it to see what's inside a node. A module, or better said, a module instance, is the basic brick of the system. An application, let's say Nextcloud or WebTop, is usually implemented by a module, but there can be multi-modules applications too. In the figure, the dark rectangles represent modules. A module by itself can run one or more Podman containers. I consider Podman as the Docker successor. They are simplified interfaces to run containers on Linux. But I can go on too much about containers. So let's see the light rectangles under the dark ones. The NethServer 8 core is made up with core modules and containers. This is necessary to limit the need of installing additional packages on the base system. To finish, I want to point out again that the basic core layer is the same for every node of the cluster. What is needed to run NethServer 8? And what are the requirements in terms of software? This is an important point to decide which Linux distributions we can support. Dealing with different versions of critical softwares like Podman and Python can lead to issues. Ideally, the versions must be the same. By now, our favorite distributions are CentOS Stream 9 and Debian 11. Also, Ubuntu 20 is gaining traction, as it's the base distribution of GitHub Actions, where automated tests run. So now we have the node, the components, and the Linux distro. Let's turn the key. It's super easy to see NethServer 8 in action. First of all, install CentOS or Debian. A virtual machine with a cloud image is good to start with. Once you have a root prompt, start the remote instance script. If the curl command is missing, wget is a valid alternative. When the install script completes, point your browser to the cluster admin URL and enter the default credentials at the login page. And now we are going to see the user interface in depth in the next slides. Thank you.
Okay, it's time for a demo, I guess. Where are you, Andrea?
Okay, here I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, so now we can get our hands dirty with Eduardo and Andrea, and Andrea will show us a short demo of the NethServer. So, go.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is a fresh installation of NethServer 8. This is the main URL that is printed on the screen at the end of the installation process. Let's assume that we want to create a new cluster from scratch and promote this machine as cluster leader. So we need, as a first step, to change the admin password for security reasons. And okay. And provide some VPN information. Okay, it's taking too long. Let me check what is going on. Let's try a refresh. I'm using a DigitalOcean droplet, so I expect no issues. Okay. Well, there's one node that is not responding. Anyway, never mind. I have my an already configured machine here. Anyway, at this point, VPN information is asked to the user. And at the end of the cluster creation process, you land on this page. We should provide an overview on your system. And let's see the main parts of the user interface. We have a side menu on the left to access the main sections of NethServer 8, and we have a top bar with some useful shortcuts for instance, global search to access common actions, notification drawer, and an app launcher to open installed applications, and a simple account menu. Let me check if I can resume. Okay, let's try again. Maybe it was a temporary network issue. Let's try again. Okay, here we go. It was just a network issue. VPN information, and as I said, we are creating the cluster right now. This will take a while. While we are waiting, I can show you, for instance, the software center. There is the section where we can manage our module software. So all the modules that are not part of the core, as David said. By now we have 2 modules, DocuWiki and Maria database. The term app and modules are synonyms in NethServer 8. Process is going on of cluster creation, and for every app we can see a brief description, some screenshots, metadata information, and so on. System updates will probably show up here, and we have a feature to filter application and so on. Let's see how is it going. Okay, cluster installation was a success. So by now, let's say we want to add another node. This is the node pages. We have just one node leader at the moment. Let's say we want to add another node to the cluster. So we hit this button. We have to copy this join code. We install NethServer 8 or on another machine that will become a worker of the cluster. This time we select join code. We paste the join code. We skip TLS sub-validation since our leader doesn't have a valid certificate. Okay, the join was successful, and now we should see 2 nodes configured on our cluster. So here it is, the second node, a worker. We can get some performance statistics on every node of the cluster, so CPU usage, memory swap, VPN information, disk usage, and so on. Let's try to uninstall an app on our cluster. So since we have 2 apps, when I install an app, the system asks me on which node I want to install the app. Let's say node 2. We can monitor installation progress on the notification drawer. In a moment, it should be ready, and I can continue to work on my cluster. And when the task finishes, a notification alerts me that installation is successful. So I can configure DocuWiki now by clicking this button on the notification, or I can find DocuWiki in the app launcher now. So here it is. Let's open it. We are inside the DocuWiki 1 to be exact. This is the name of the single instance of the application. And we are aware that we are inside an application because we have the core menu collapsed here, and we have the app menu here. So this is the status page of our application. On these pages, we usually show installation node, backup configuration data, systemd services status, container stuff, and so on. And of course, there is a settings page where we can configure the app. So let's do a quick and simple configuration of DocuWiki. Okay, configuration completed. By now, we can see that, for instance, the systemd service now is active and enabled. And let's see now something different. Let's try to configure user domains. So we can create a new domain inside the cluster, or we can join an existing domain, an existing external domain. Let's go for the internal way. We have a working Samba implementation by now. In the near future, we will have an OpenLD app implementation too. I have to choose on which node I want to install the account provider. Let's say node 1 is fine. In this moment, a Samba instance is being installed on the cluster in the node 1. And on the next step, we'll have to configure Samba and provide all the account provider configuration data for the domain controller to work properly. Let's just give it a second. Okay, here we are. This is the name of the domain, of the user domain we are creating, Samba stuff, subadmin credentials, and the IP address where the account provider will be available. Okay, so now domain configuration is in progress. And to review, we have created an internal domain with one account provider installed on the first node of our cluster. So in a moment, the model should close and we should see it on the main page. Here we go. This is the domain, internal Samba with one provider. Let's review some details. We can see that we have section providers where we have one provider by now on the first node, but for instance, we could add another provider on the node 2 to have a high availability of our domain, for instance. And that's it for user domains. Let's see now something about backup and restore. In NethServer 8, we have two kinds of backups. We have cluster configuration backups that are useful for disaster recovery scenario, and apps backup. Apps backup deal with all external modules, data, and configuration. So let's skip the configuration process, and I switch back to my test machine where I already have configured the backup. We can see that we can download a cluster configuration backup. That is the encrypted file that we can use in a disaster recovery scenario to resume our cluster. Then about app backups, I have already configured Amazon S3 repository. We are currently supporting Backblaze B2 and Amazon and S3 repositories, but we will probably support in the future Microsoft Azure and all other S3 compatible providers like Wasabi, for instance. That's because app backups are always backed up to a remote repository. After after repository creation, we can schedule our backups. So we can decide which applications are backed to which remote repository. So for instance, I can say that I want DocuWiki to back it up to my Amazon S3 repository weekly on Wednesday at I don't know, 20 o'clock, and I want to retain 7 backup snapshots. I assign just a name for my backup, and that's it. So I can schedule different backups for different applications towards different repositories. And last but not least, we can restore an app that we have previously backed up. So at we are reading S3 repository right now, and we can choose, for instance, to restore DocuWiki 1 application to Node 1, for instance, and that's it. So this is okay. Just a few words on audit logs, and we are almost at the end. This is a section where you can see who did what on the cluster. So a review on all the actions performed by all the users of the cluster. And the next thing we are working on the user interface is a system logs page where you can have a centralized view on all the log messages of all applications, nodes, and the cluster itself. And that's the next thing we will deliver. And I think that's it. This is the end of the live demo. And now Matteo will tell us something about NethServer 8 testing. I stop my share.
Okay. I will start in a moment. Ok, no, share the screen. Ecco qua. Okay. Okay. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start how you can contribute to NethServer 8. One of the first things that you can do is to create a new module or porting some software to the new platform. And for that, we have created a Kickstart module. Because the common difficulties that you can encounter in this case is that you don't know where to start, you don't know how to structure it, and you don't know what to do. And at the end, also, you maybe want to check if your work is, what you have to do is work correctly or as you expected. For that, we create a Kickstart module. You can go in the GitHub page, but as opposite of the classic repository, you don't have to clone or fork. You have to use the button, use this as template. After that, we will prompt the name of the new repository that will host your module. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is to use the prefix NS8 score and follow it with the name of your module. After you have created this new repository, if you go to the Git history of your repository, we will see 2 comments. The first one is the classic comment that GitHub creates for you when you create a new repository from a template. The other comment is the repository initialization commit that is made automatically by a GitHub action in the repository that we have created that are going to modify all the occurrence of the string kickstart with the name that you have choose for your new modules. In this way, you will find a scaffolding for work with your module, and you don't have to start from scratch. So let's see how is structured this classic module repository. We have 3 main sections. This is the first directory is the image root, where we are going to put all our code of the module. Then we have the test that where we will put all the tests for verify if
our module works correctly as expected. And then the UI directory, where we are going to put all the user interface code of our module. In particular, we are going to put here the user interface for the admin. Okay, so let's see briefly how we can modify this module. First of all, let's start with the test, because we are going to, briefly we are going to see in action, but we can define some basic tests for our modules. For example, we can check if the module is installed correctly on the system, check if we can configure the module correctly, then if the module works as expected. In this case, the Kickstart module is a simple echo server that if we define the endpoint where we are going to listen, and every time we are going to call this endpoint, the HTTP result must be 800. Then we are going to remove the module and see if it's removed correctly. So let's see how can add something to the module. For example, something very similar that we can do is to change the HTTP endpoint of our module. For example, we're going to change from modules/module to hello world. After that, we're going to commit the change, push the change, and in the repository, if we are going to the action section, we will see that there is an action in place. This particular action will build our module. After the build is successful, the module will be published to the GitHub repository, to the GitHub registry for the container, and we will find the module in the repository, in the GitHub registry, and we can easily install in an NS8 installation with the add module command, followed by the URL of our module and the number of the node where we want to install the module. After that, we will see that there is another action that is automatically called, that is the test module. Every time we're going to publish a new image of our module, we are going to execute all the text. And as we can see here, one of the text is failed. Let's see in details what is the test that failed. We can see here that the test fail is the check if the module works correctly. Because if you remember, I told you that the simple module is an echo server that will listen on an endpoint. In the previous commit, we change the endpoint, but we don't update the test. And the test tells us that, okay, I try to check if the endpoint works correctly, but it's failed. In this case, we can call it is a false negative test, but what is important that we have choose to make the test in some way, and we change something under the hood, and it don't work anymore as we expected. Maybe if we have something more, we've done something more complex, this will alert us that we have break our module. So let's see how we can fix it. Simply, we are going to change the endpoint of the test after the commit the change, push the commit. We are going to automatically run another time the publish image workflow. After that, the test module workflow, and we will see that the test module this time will be successful. As also we can see in the details of the test that the check if modules works as expected this time is passed. Okay, I think that I doing more quickly than 5 minutes. By the way, so if you want to start to contribute with a new module for the new system, you can go to the github.com NethServer/NS8 core kickstart and start a new template from here. I done everything now. Okay, let's see.
Okay. Time for Giacomo again.
Yeah, just a quick recap on what we have seen. So we have seen that NethServer 8 is ready for Alpha 1, I'd say. It's not really finished because it's still an alpha. So what you can expect from an alpha? Basic system should work, but upgrades are not supported. So we probably can upgrade the NethServer 8 from Alpha 1 to Beta, but we cannot guarantee it. What we are going to do, of course, implement almost everything is missing. Since NethServer 7 is end of life in 2024, we would like to have a fully functional NethServer 8 for that date. The idea is to have the first stable release in a year or so. And what we are working right now in the next few days, for sure, we are going to implement the UI and the basic API server for the centralized logging. Eduardo and Matteo are already working on it. We want to implement a feature to migrate a container from an application from a node to another. We would like to implement the software updates inside the UI, both of the core and the application. Also, we need to handle the distribution updates. We have already some ideas how to do it. Another account provider, or let's say OpenLDAP, because we want user be able to migrate from NethServer 7 to NethServer 8 easily. Also, I guess OpenLDAP will support redundancy, so OpenLDAP native replication. And one thing we still don't have is the leader promotion. So currently, when you install NethServer 8, you choose your leader node, and you cannot move the leader role to another node. But we are working on it. It would be quite easy to do for the user. And of course, maybe the main thing we miss are the application. As you can see, we only have MariaDB, which was created by Stefan in 3 or 4 days, if I remember well. It works very well. And we also have the wiki that we used as a demo application. We are working on Nextcloud. We have still half working mail application, and everything we almost everything we have on NethServer 7, we will try to port it on NethServer 8. So I hope you enjoyed this trip, and we are open for questions.
I have a question. Where is the cat? Where is the cat picture?
Where is the cat? I don't know. I don't like cats in the slides. So when I saw this funny tag from Davide, I left it.
So guys, before starting with the question, with Giacomo, we have created this week a new page on NethServer.org, NethServer.org, NethServer 8. You can find on the chat the link. I put the link in the chat, and we tried to create an overview about NethServer, differences between 7 and 8. There is a quick start, some facts, questions, answers, and a lot of things that we tried to write there. So take a look at this new page with the video of this meeting. So we can start with the question. I tried to start from the beginning because in the meantime, we collect some questions. Brad said, I don't see an FS backup. Is that still possible in NethServer 8?
Currently not. Probably we will implement it. I didn't dive inside the container stuff for the NFS, and I don't know how to implement it currently. But the idea is probably to have a local S3 server like a Minio, and then mount this object storage to a NF storage or to a local disk. So basically, we will try to keep a few protocols inside the backup stuff, and maybe bring some bridges. Currently, the engine of the backup is Restic, so we can use everything Restic can support.
A question from Tessie. Can we already install it?
Yep. You can go to NethServer 8 page, www.netserver.org/netserver-8, and you can find everything there. And also, I know that David already pointed out the URL.
Okay. Another question. So it's absolutely they like the OS agnostic, and how we can create model. Okay. This is okay, Brad, about NFS. Another question. Let's say I already have a cluster deployed using Docker, of course, under Debian. Can I just add NethServer 8 to manage my environment? It seemed that way from what you're reading, but I just need to make sure.
No, because you need to migrate to Podman. So you can basically reuse the same images you are using in Docker, but you need to rearrange it a little bit, especially for the network part.
Can a leader have a backup leader for when it fails? I don't understand the question, I guess.
Okay, I think I get the question. I don't have a full answer for it. The idea behind NethServer 8 is to have a cluster to distribute the workload and not to have a real high availability for the node. So in the case that the leader dies, yes, probably you can promote another node to a leader, but you will need to restore the applications because the file system is not shared. I hope I have answered to your question.
Okay, another question is, can I change cluster admin to different name for security reason?
Yeah, currently it's a configuration under the hood, but yes, we can, if possible, to change it.
Okay, another question is add nodes per application per node, considering that will be many things to document for other users, even inside the dashboard. I guess writing something near the application. Don't know if this is the...
Maybe Andrea and Eduardo can answer to it. I don't know if
it's more about a monitoring portal, I guess, than a dashboard. I don't know.
I'm not sure I have understand the question, actually. Can you repeat it, Alessio?
Yes, I think the question is, can we add nodes, considering that will be many things to document for other user inside the dashboard? I don't understand pretty well, but I think nodes behind the node.
You can have label. You can label everything inside the UI, so you can label the node, the cluster, the application, but nodes currently not. We could add it.
Please, Nitram, add some details about your question because we don't understand where you're pointing. So Gianluca said, how do you deal with the not so regular Debian stable life cycle? Do you plan to support RHEL alternatives like Alma Linux or Rocky Linux?
Maybe David is more suited than me to respond to this answer, to this question.
You should unmute. Davide. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. About distributions,
Well, for now, we are planning how to update the underlying operating system. So we have not worked on it so far. However, as I said during the presentation, the distribution is important for few packages. The most important one are Podman and Python. So as long as the distribution provides the right versions for those fundamental packages, we can support it. So real alternatives should be good. Of course, RHEL 9 alternatives, because RHEL 8 is not does not provide the necessary package versions. So as long as Debian and RHEL provide that version, so we can go on with them.
Said my question was not clear. Let me simplify. I have two servers. One is running as the Docker manager, another joined as a worker node, all under Debian 11. Can I start NethServer 8 after the fact that I have it manage my environment?
No, it's not. I think it's not possible, because if you already have a system that is running Docker, you cannot use the same system to install NethServer 8 over it. So NethServer 8 requires a clear environment, a clear distribution, and it takes control over it. You cannot use the same node, the same distro to do other things.
Christoph, question: plan for firewall, multi-WAN, and VPN?
Maybe we forgot to recap it, but we already talked about these things at the last FOSDEM. Firewall will not be part of NethServer 8. So NethServer 8 is just the orchestrator for containers. But we are going to create another project for the firewall part. I still don't have answer on what we will be inside this new project, but for sure we will share it as soon as it starts.
Okay, Brad said perfect. Hopefully it's implemented by launch. I'd like to switch over before NethServer 8 becomes end of life. we hope it as well, I guess. Will you offer public RPM for publishing module created by members?
Yes, we already support multiple software repositories. So as for NethServer 7, developers will be able to publish their packages directly on NethServer official repository, or create their own repository. There is we didn't mention it. There is already.
Hold on, Giacomo. We have some problem with your audio. It's a bit metallic, I guess. Hold on a second. There is some problem with your audio. Okay. Yeah, we have some problem with the audio of Giacomo. Just a minute.
He's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Some connection problem, I guess. Let me. Okay, so as I was saying, developers will be able to publish their RPM on their own repository or on the official one. It's just a matter of choice.
Okay. So just a minute because I lost. Okay, Axel said, hello guys, hope I'm working as a trainer starting in May 2022. Bring up new DevOps in the 1 year. Can be that my 25 members looking for a project that is building new. Did you like to have 25 new testers? Mostly Azure platform. You're welcome, Axel.
Free developers and free testers are always welcome.
Yeah, we can pay some pizza for this piece of the food. So if a leader dies, does it mean I lose access to all other nodes by means from the dashboard?
Actually, yes, but in the future, you will be able to promote a worker node and run, and the UI will run inside the promoted leader.
Would also like to know if firewall Multivane is planned. Okay, this is okay. Yeah. Okay, for the nodes, Nitan said, I mean something similar to what Proxmox offer or what Mesh Central offer on the dashboard. Okay. Yes.
We can explore it.
Please, Access said, please no Ubuntu server. Okay. All right, okay. Elia, will the migration tool create automatically container of the current and NethServer server module? For example, the tool we create a container for NetServer. Okay. For another for NetService. Okay. What about the migration tool? Do you have some idea how it will?
Maybe Davide.
Yeah, that's the basic idea, is to like we did for NetServer 6, we build an upgrade in place upgrade tool. Now for NetServer 7, we could implement a module for NetServer 7 that migrates NetServer 7 modules to a NetServer 8 installation. And if we are lucky, we could even think about an in-place upgrade tool. But at the first step, we will explore how to migrate them from a NetServer 7 installation to another NetServer 8 installation.
So there is there is a question about the backstage. Any reason why Podman was chosen over Docker?
Because Podman is cool.
Short and yeah.
Also because Docker has been dropped as the official Kubernetes. We will be dropped as the official Kubernetes engine. So many projects are migrating to Podman. We think that is good enough.
Yes, the underlying container runtime is the new standard for containers, and it is used also by Koreos and other projects.
So so far the questions are ended. If you have any question, please put there in our chat or raise your hand so I can unmute you, please.
Docker will not be dropped in favor of Kubernetes. Kubernetes will drop Docker as an engine, because when you run a Kubernetes cluster, you can choose what engine you want to use.
Okay, Brad said I have a Podman node running on my own network. It's very stable, and I never have an issue with any of the images. So, questions? Andy, do you have a question? I see you there.
I saw also a question from Axel.
Axel.
Did we can use VMS for Docker? So I don't know if I understand the question, but yes, you can run NetServer 8 on virtual machine. XN, KVM, whatever.
So
It's important. I want to say again and again that NethServer is not a generic engine to run any container, like for instance Proxmox or Docker engine and so on. We integrate existing software and to make it run with a single click from a single user interface. So you don't have the idea that when you approach the user interface of NethServer, you don't see any containers. You have no idea what's behind the user interface. This is important. And so using a NethServer 7 is like using a NethServer 8. You have also the multi-node paradigm, of course. It's more powerful.
Okay. Just a minute. I'm waiting your question. Okay. How will Docker-based project will be installed on the server 8? Well, I guess we already answered this question about.
Just to be clear, if you find a Docker image for any project, you can use it inside NethServer. Okay. It doesn't matter if it runs Podman or Docker. The image can run on both engines.
Okay, I guess
of course, you need to develop some software to adapt it to the platform. You cannot just take the image and run it. You need to develop a NethServer 8 module. And for that, Matteo showed you the kickstart procedure. So how to develop a NethServer 8 module that integrates the Docker image into NethServer 8.
Okay, access say that through the normal user don't see the container, but it's important for the development.
Yeah, the developers have to know how to deal with containers, of course. It's like on NethServer 7. In NethServer 7, the user don't have to worry about RPM packages. However, the developer has to build RPM packages that automatically configure other RPM packages to run on NethServer 7. So developers have to study and work.
Has to study, I'm sure. I'm a little concerned about the firewall, that the firewall is being removed from NethServer, say Brad, especially since I have a lot of this installation publics facing for ML functionality. Will there be at least some sort of security modules such as a fail to ban?
We don't know yet. The idea is to have NethServer behind another firewall. So if you put it on a VPS, you can enable the firewall of your cloud provider, let's say DigitalOcean or AWS. Or if you install NethServer 8 on a physical machine, you will probably have a firewall for your office, so just in front of the physical machine. We have some ideas to port a firewall D inside NethServer 8, but just to open and close ports, not much more. Currently, firewall D has some issues with, could have some issues with some very strange configuration of Podman, but maybe we will have it. So the idea here is NethServer 8 should be placed in a secure place. So you can secure it with an hardware firewall or a virtual firewall.
Okay. Nietzsche said, can you build another sample model just like a net.wiki so that we get an idea of how to go about this process for other models of Docker? So, yes, I guess we will build other sample model. Yeah, so I think it's quite clear. Axel, did you think about mandatory versions, so one GUI for multi-customers?
Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm a little bit against the idea to have a centralized configuration for many customers, just for security reasons. But probably yes, it will be something you will be able to achieve in some manners.
Okay, so people are chatting, so please raise your question if you want, because
yeah, OpenSense is a good candidate if you just want to put it in front of NethServer.
Waiting other questions, and then we can close and the meeting. If guys, do you have other things to add, or details, if you like? Okay, you're looking for Fireware or GaiaX? Okay, it's not.
I don't know what is Fireware of GaiaX. What is Axel GaiaX? There is also another question. When will OpenLDAP be available? As soon as it's ready. I don't know. Maybe in a few days or a few weeks.
Okay. great answer, said Brad. So people, if
we continue the discussion on community.
Yeah, we can. I can open the discussion on community. I'd like to put again the page of NethServer 8, so we can take a look at the fact of the question and answer from that we wrote there, and a little bit overview of NethServer 8 if you want. And so I'm recording this video, so I put in our community in over the following days. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your question, and thank you. Okay, great presentation. Thank you, Andy. And please follow up this meeting with in community if you have any question, and you can write there, so we can share how to create a new module, how to approach the NethServer, how to install it, take a look at the GitHub in the GitHub for the quick start. And thank you so much. Thank you, Davide, Giacomo, Eduardo, Andrea.
Thank you,
Matteo, and so on. Thank you, NethServer community, and see you soon on our forum, our community. Bye bye.
Bye bye.